Okay, well, good morning. You might be wondering to yourself, Nathan, why are you wearing a high-vis sweatshirt? Well, my shop is torn apart. My shop is absolutely a mess. I can't even get to the grinders over there. The gas plumbing still hasn't been redone. And the blacksmith shop, it's kind of usable, workable, but man, the real reason we are in the shop today is because we don't have a travel forge for the blacksmith competition coming up June 15th. Let's go take a look at what we have in store for this forge build. Let's go. You got it. It's the old filing cabinet. I'm gonna go get started mapping this thing out. So we'll see you guys on the other side. Okay, so I've built forges out of a lot of things. But I've never actually built a forge out of a filing cabinet. And I had this thing kicking around. I needed a travel forge because we don't have one. Because Fred is now strictly a shop forge. I said, why not? What's the worst that could happen? Let me tell you what. This was absolutely the worst build, while at the same time the most fun build I've done in a long time. The worst build is because how thin the material is. I've said it in the past, I'll probably say it again, I'm not a welder, so the act of actually welding this was quite the chore. Setting up the welder correctly, making sure that it doesn't blow through, not welding too long of seams, it just took forever, right? And then I couldn't find my hole saw. And so you get to see me cut out a circle with a it was too big. So yeah, it's just, but there's little things on here. I mean, there's the blacksmithing type stuff that did come into play that went into the build. It was good, but at the same time, wow, super terrible. So I mean, this is just pretty easy stuff right here. And I did something new with the welding. Instead of getting the arc, I wanted to get the very end of the weld so that it's not so bad, hard on the eyes, So did some cold forging here just to get a little hook on there because I had to make that piece of pipe fit. So this is what we did. We ended up welding on and then just bent it around there and tack welded it on and bent it, tack welded, bent it, tack welded. It worked out really good. So all right, everybody. So it's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks since we picked this project up. Definitely closer to 2 weeks. Burner in and it's straight-ish. Hose, regulator, and gauge ready to go. So we're gonna pull our burner out and get our base piece put in and ready to go. So that's what we're gonna do right now. These damn regulators gave me a hell of a time. It's just, I bought one off of Amazon, bought one from a local ranch and home supply here. And yeah, you'll see here later on in the video that it became quite a headache. So, and then you'll also see the results. So it's a waste of money, I think. But yeah, so we're just getting rid of this floor put in, and I didn't actually use what I started out to do. Ended up just like right here, we didn't actually end up using it for the floor. We ended up using these as for the doors. But yeah, we ended up finding a way simpler way to do it and make it happen. So, but we still had to do it. You still had to get that process done, anyways. But yeah, we just cut a panel out of the side of it and said, "Hey, look at that," and then trimmed up some end pieces so that it would keep our refractory inside for when we poured the table. And yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, it wasn't that bad, but it was bad at the same time. It was kind of a headache at times. Now, to be perfectly honest, the only reason I was even doing anything above those seams was just to cover them up and make the thing kind of look cool-ish, more than what it was, just a bunch of welded seams. So that's basically what I was trying to do. And all the refractory and brick, one of the regulators in this, I'd never used any of this stuff before, any of these brands before, and so it was all basically new to me, seeing how they would do. I was really pleased with the refractory and the brick.
Could go that way. That way actually makes more sense. So we'll stuff K-wool down around these.
This K-wool, or spun ceramic insulation, is just leftover chunks and pieces from other forge builds and the furnace build. And yeah, I luckily had enough to do it. I actually ended up having enough to do another one. So without having to order a new roll, which is like $200, to do these, I was able to just pull some of this stuff off from underneath the bench in the grinding shop. And, luckily I don't throw anything away of this. I keep all my pieces just for this purpose right here. So yeah, so we got pretty lucky on this. Not too bad. This technique is also something new that I'm using. I didn't necessarily see it anywhere. It just made sense to put a little graphite powder on your flare, push your freaking top piece up there, which I cut too small, and you'll leave a mark so you can easily cut out your hole for your flare. So yeah, and I cut it too small. So yeah, it's supposed to fit in there tight, and it was not fitting tight, as you'll see. At this point, you're probably wondering why I didn't use a full piece here, a solid piece from the poured table all the way across the top and down to the other side. Well, I didn't have any that was long enough, so I had to literally take pieces, drops, and make them work. So that's the main reason. When we rebuild this, we'll definitely use a single piece across there. So this is one of my old burners, like first gen burners that we built, and this came off. It's one of the other burners that came off of Fred before I transitioned him into a forced air. So I of course keep everything. So ended up being able to use it as he used the other burner on another single burner forge on Patty that we built last year, and it worked out great. But you'll soon find out that there's something wrong with the nozzle. We tried everything, nothing seemed to work, so we're getting ready to do our first test fire here. Alright, so what I've done is I've kind of taken the old part of the drawer and put it on there to where there's not as much air flowing through. That might be an issue with it too. The airflow problem we have. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this back on, and then we're going to light it again. But with this kind of a door in the back. We also added a longer standpipe as well. That helped out immensely. I'm going to keep a standpipe in the wings, so if I need to change that again, we can. This regulator I got off of Amazon, and it is what it is. It is a 0 to 60 high pressure regulator. It doesn't seem to want to work as well as some of the regulators I've used in the past, to where I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get a forge weld to happen in this forge, which it's a travel forge, so I don't necessarily need it to happen. But that what also means is it's just not getting as hot. So yeah, so that's why we're going through all this to test the two regulators, and
47 seconds.
We'll have to figure something out. When I get it better, I might just get a new hose and regulator combo and see if that works better, because I know I can forge well with those. So we'll just see. And this is the regulator I got from in town. So, but yeah, is what it is.
What we're looking for is a red-orange color. So we're at 30 seconds right now. We're almost there. I mean, I can do something with it right now, but if I was working on it...
I didn't film any of the door making. I didn't think it was all that pertinent to it, because it's just making. So we're at 3 psi. I don't have the back door. There's the parts over there for the back door. It's not doing bad. I mean, it's not even coated with anything. For it not being coated, we're doing pretty good. Once it gets coated with like some refractory or some sort of rigidizer, will be a lot better. Now, at this point, we had changed out our nozzle to a .030 nozzle, which was 100 times better. It apparently had a .035 nozzle, big tip nozzle in it, which I'm not sure why, but it did. And so that's kind of why it wasn't working all that way. It's still coughing really bad, and I'm not entirely sure why. So, but it gets to heat. That's all that matters. Now here is the curious thing. This is why this isn't really all that great to sit here and time it, because you need someone timing and you not looking at the timer and you only looking at your piece, and then you pull it out when you see the color that you want, which is what we did here. Is I actually timed this in the video when I was editing, versus the other one where we were holding the phone. The other we were holding the phone. I actually think that this $26.99 regulator is better than the $65 one that we purchased, the 0 to 60 that we purchased off of Amazon. So there you go. And I felt I needed to show the cost difference in here, because if you're looking for a regulator, just go to your local place and grab one of these. So forge is done. We need to get this anvil. This is a 66-pound London pattern Vivor Special. It's gonna be the perfect travel anvil. It would work out for somebody starting out, but this anvil is not for like long-term everyday use. Not to say you couldn't use this as your main anvil if that's all you had, but they're not designed to be used for heavy smithing. Perfect for events and demos and you know, classes, stuff like that. So these have an 8-inch foot on either side. So we need to cut 2 pieces of our angle iron.
I want to reiterate here real quick also that neither of these 2 builds were really planned. I had an idea of what I wanted and then used the materials at hand to accomplish it.
We're gonna hammer all these freaking ends over. We lock this thing in place, right? But we're not gonna do that until we get it all welded together. Okay, now we're going to hammer our ends over. And that anvil is not coming out of there, nor is it gonna move. We could knock these over too, but we're gonna get our feet put on first. That's how you do the bottom box on an anvil you don't want to come out. Okay, so this anvil is 8 1/4 inches tall. We need 32 inches tall off the ground. I'm gonna have to cut another one of these tubing. So the anvil is 8 1/4 inches. We need to put feet on the bottom of this piece so that we're not digging in the ground. So I have dropped 1/4 inch. So we're gonna cut this one, get it all trimmed up, and then we're gonna cut every single one of them to match this guy right here.
Now, I wanted it 32 inches because with me, 32 inches lines up perfectly with where my hammer needs to be sitting when my arm is relaxed at my side, which coincidentally is also the same as my inseam. Now you'll have to play around and see if that is the same for you. If it is, great, awesome. I need to check some of my other friends and see what their inseam is and see where they have their anvil set to, so that I can substantiate the claim that place your anvil face height at the length of your inseam. So it's a pretty good little anvil here, nice and quiet, but yeah, there you go. Nice dead sounding anvil right there because it's secured tightly in place. I want to thank everybody for viewing this video and remind everybody Florida School Days is June 15th, 2024, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Blacksmithing, Dutch oven cooking, sewing, quilting, and much more. Thank you very much.